Now, the Philippine Coast Guard has removed a floating barrier installed by China.
Rising tensions between the two countries.
Senators reject China's new version of a map.
China's distorting the story to fit its own ends.
The National Security Council is gearing up to release a new Philippine map that highlights the country's maritime rights, in line with the 2016 arbitral ruling and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. This updated map is a strategic move to counter China's controversial 10-line map and clearly define the extent of the Philippine territory for safe navigation and environmental protection. The release of this map comes at a tense time, as territorial disputes between China and the Philippines in the South China Sea have significantly escalated in recent months, drawing international attention, including from the United States.
I want to be clear. I want to be very clear. The United States defense commitment to the Philippines is ironclad.
Colonel Miguel Aguilar, spokesperson for the AFP, emphasized the importance of this map in instilling national pride and responsibility among Filipinos to safeguard their territory. In response to China's claims over most of the South China Sea, a Senate panel is working on the updated Philippine map. The current map includes key regions like the Scarborough Shoal, the Spratly Islands, the West Philippine Sea, and the Benham Rise. The map also notes the Saba region, which the Philippines claims but is not actively pursuing against Malaysia. The 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone west of the archipelago will now be officially known as the West Philippine Sea, while areas beyond this zone will still be referred to as the South China Sea. This marks the first time the Philippine government will release such a comprehensive map, 7 years after a human-backed arbitration tribunal ruled in favor of the Philippines over certain features in the Spratlys. The UN Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf had previously approved the Philippines' application to extend its continental shelf limit beyond 200 nautical miles from the Luzon coastline, renaming the 13 million hectare area known to mariners as Benham Rise to Philippine Rise. In August, tensions flared when China published its updated map featuring 10 dashes forming a U-shape in the South China Sea, laying claim to nearly the entire region. This move drew protests from the Philippines and highlighted overlapping claims with Malaysia, Brunei, Vietnam, and Indonesia. This new Philippine map is not just a response to China's aggressive claims but a significant step in asserting the nation's maritime entitlements and sovereignty. The Philippines' updated map will have to undergo many layers of approval process to ensure that it is consistent with UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and the Arbitral Award. This landmark ruling invalidated China's expansive claims in the South China Sea, with the Arbitral Tribunal largely ruling in favor of Manila in its exclusive economic zone. Seas and continental shelf that are being claimed by Beijing, the Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, Taiwan, and India, all of which have territorial disputes with China, have raised objections to the 2023 version of China's standard map released on August 28 by the Chinese Ministry of Natural Resources. The map features a U-shaped line that reaffirms Beijing's claims to sovereignty over nearly all of the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea. This region is rich in resources and strategically important, serving as a crucial route for trillions of dollars in trade each year. The line extends into the exclusive economic zones of several countries and also encompasses the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh, the Sikkim region in the Himalayas, which China controls but India also claims, and the Russian territory of Bolshoi Usa, Risky Island. At least 6 neighboring countries have objected to China's new standard national map, which features a 10-dash line instead of the previous 9 dashes used to stake claims on the South China Sea, with an additional dash to the east of Taiwan. Waves of anger spread across the South China Sea and India this week, following China's publication of a new official map, renewing its illegal claims to most of the sea and adding new claims along the east of Taiwan and the Indian border. This could also indicate that China also sees Japanese islands in the Ryukyus as its territory. The new map repeats the 9-dash line claims made by China and rejected by the United Nations Law of the Sea Tribunal, while also claiming new territory around Taiwan and to the north of India. The Philippines previously contested China's then 9-dash line before the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which invalidated Beijing's expansive claim. On August 28, the day after the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs released a statement rejecting China's 2023 standard map. Another noteworthy addition to the future Philippines map is the inclusion of Sabah as part of its territorial entitlements. Northern Eastern Sabah is one of the disputed territories of the Philippines currently under the control of Malaysia. Sabah is situated on the northern part of the island of Borneo in Southeast Asia. Presently, Sabah is one of the 13 states along with its 3 federal territories, comprising the Federation of Malaysia dating back to the 15th century. The area known today as Sabah was part of the Sultanate of Brunei during the reign of its 5th Sultan Balkhiya in 1658. The Sultan of Brunei handed over the northern and eastern parts of Borneo to the Sultanate of Sulu as compensation for the latter's assistance in resolving the Brunei Civil War. In 1761, Alexander Dalrymple, an officer of the British East India Company, concluded an agreement with the Sultan of Sulu to allow him to set up a trading post in a region. It was been formalized in 1878 when William Cowie, on behalf of Dent's Company, negotiated and obtained a concession in perpetuity from the Sultan of Sulu over its holdings in this region. This concession was signed on the 22nd of January 1878 in the palace of the Sultan of Sulu. The rights were subsequently transferred to Alfred Dent, who on 26th of August 1881 formed the British North Borneo Provisional Association Limited. A few months later, the British government granted a royal charter and the British North Borneo Chartered Company was subsequently formed on the 1st of November in 1888. North Borneo became a protectorate of the United Kingdom administration, and control over North Borneo has remained in the hands of the company despite being a protector, and they effectively ruled until 1942. During the Second World War, as part of a continuous expansion of the Empire of Japan, the North Borneo Island, including Saba, was occupied by the Japanese from 1942 to 1945. In 1945, after the liberation from Japanese occupation, North Borneo was administered by the British military administration and became a British Crown colony, and after the Philippine independence from the United States on July 4, 1946, 7 British-controlled islands on the northern coast of Bordeaux, named Turtle Islands, including Cagayan de Tawi and Manzi Islands, were ceded to the Philippine government by the Crown Colony Government of North Borneo, but Saba still remained part of the British Crown Colony until August 31, 1963, when North Borneo attained self-government from the British Empire during the transition of the liberation of Sabah. The Kabul Commission was set up to determine whether the people of Sabah and Sarawak favored the proposed Malaysian Union. The Commission had found that the union was generally favored by the residents, but also noted some opposition from the people, but decided that such opposition was minor. Despite the opposition, the Commission made the recommendation without any referendum conducted, unlike the referendum in Singapore, as reported by the Commission on Ethnic Community Leaders of Sabah would eventually support the formation despite some opposite, and agreement was signed. William Good, the last governor of North Borneo, signed on behalf of the territory on the 1st of August 1962, putting to paper the agreement to form the union. Initially, the unification of Sabah to Malaysia was scheduled on August 31, 1963, but due to objections from the Philippines and Indonesia, the formation had to be postponed to the 16th of September 1963. At that time, North Borneo, currently known as Sabah, was united with Malaya, Sarawak, and Singapore to form Malaysia. On the 12th of September 1962, during President Diosdado Macapagal Arroyo administration, the Philippine government claimed the territory of North Borneo, and the full sovereignty, title, and dominion over it were ceded by the heirs of the Sultan of Sulu, Muhammad Asbail Iki Waram Brampton, to the Republic of the Philippines. By then, the Philippines continued this territorial claim over North Borneo based on an agreement signed in 1870 years between the Sultan of Sulu and the North Borneo Chartered Company. It maintains that the sovereignty of the Sultanate over North Borneo, Sabah, was never abolished and that the territory was only leased to the North Borneo Chartered Company. However, Malaysia views this dispute as settled, interpreting the 1878 agreement as a cession. and believes the residents of Sabah exercised their right to self-determination when they joined the Malaysian Federation in 1963. Going back to the 17th century, one of the first versions of the Philippine map was the hydrographical and geographical chart of the Philippine Islands. This remarkable map, drawn by the Jesuit father Pedro Mario Villard and published in Manila in 1734, is considered the first and most significant scientific map of the Philippines. At the time, the Philippines was a crucial part of the Spanish Empire, and the map shows maritime routes from Manila to Spain and Mexico, then known as New Spain. The map is not only of great geographic interest, but also serves as an ethnographic document. It features 12 engravings, 6 on each side, with 8 depicting various ethnic groups living in the archipelago and 4 providing cartographic descriptions of specific cities or islands. In recent developments in the West Philippine Sea, the Philippines has accused China of massive coral harvesting from a reef in the South China Sea. The United States, through its top diplomat in the Philippines, has expressed alarm over the destruction of corals in the Rosal Reef near Palawan, believed to be the work of the Chinese. Reports from the Armed Forces of the Philippines Western Command highlight severe habitat damage at Rosal Reef and Scarborough Shoal, which negatively impacts ecosystems and local livelihoods. On Saturday, the AFP's Western Command reported the plundering of corals at Rosal Reef, with suspicions pointing to China. The Department of Foreign Affairs, DFA, released a statement expressing grave concern over the coral destruction without directly naming China. The DFA emphasized that the Philippines has consistently raised alarms about environmentally damaging activities by foreign vessels, a matter extensively addressed in the 2016 Arbitral Award on the South China Sea. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more updates.